asked to take a screenshot.
I'm sorry?
I was just saying if I can take a screenshot for our presentation, because I want to add this sheet as a slip-in sheet for our planning submittal. If I
Sure.
can do that and
Yeah.
get a full screen view of everybody who's on.
Yeah, no, we'll post this and then we can send you the recording of the meeting, which will have a list of attendees as well.
Okay.
And am I you're going to present, right, yourself? So I need to make you a co-host.
Okay. Yeah, or either just let me share my screen.
Yep, that's exactly what I'll do. We'll get started in like 30 seconds. People are still rolling in.
Good afternoon. It is 5:31.
All right, should we get started, Erica?
That's not my screen.
No, that's not your screen. I'm
All right.
sharing my screen.
Okay.
Okay, so welcome everybody to Hilltop District Neighborhood Council meeting. We've got agenda for today, sent out agenda to all of you today or a couple days ago. So first we'll go through a quick introduction of the HDNC board members. And then if rest of you want to just type in the chat where you're from, that would be helpful as an introduction. It'd take too long to introduce everyone. But when we do introduce each new items, we'll give an opportunity for the presenter and their team to introduce themselves. So first thing is introduction for myself, Bob and Catchery. I'm the Hilltop District Neighborhood Council President, and I'm also the President of the Summerland HOA in the Hilltop District. And I'll pass it over to Michelle.
My name is Michelle Marshall, and I'm the Vice President.
Okay, Erica.
Hi, my name is Erica Haywood. I'm the treasurer for Summer Lane, as well as treasurer for this association. Thank you.
And finally, Sal. Sal, you there? Okay, we'll move on. Item number 2 is the membership sign up. So if you're not a member of Hilltop District, you can sign up by filling out a form. Or alternatively, you can also email us at hilltopdistrictrichmond@gmail.com, and we'll add you to our distribution list, and you'll officially become a member, and you'll get all the communication from us, including meeting minutes or the recording of this meeting and things of that nature. All right, I think what we can do is move on to item number 3. So we've got a new development at 4555 Hilltop Drive, and Ronnie Turner is here to present. So what I'll do is I'll stop sharing my screen right now, and I'll give you a, I'll make you a co-host, so you should be able to share your screen. There you are. And then if you do have any questions, please type that in the chat, and we will take questions from the chat. Thank you.
So we can do this. So we're gonna make that a little bit bigger. Stop sharing. Try that one more time.
We're seeing your screen. You're just sharing. Yeah, that's all.
Okay, great. Great. All right. I'm not going to do that. All right. So my name is Ronnie Turner, Turner Development Resource Group. I'm a local developer. A lot of projects over the years. Formerly worked with the City of Berkeley in planning and community development. I've owned my own company for the last 21 years. One of the projects I'm working on in the Bay Area that you may know of is the Mandela Station at the West Oakland BART Station. So my background is real estate development. I also attend Bay Hills Church, and we are looking to do a brand new sanctuary of 25,000 square feet. And so tonight I'm just going to show some concept renderings. And this building may look different to you than the standard stick built building. This is a sprung structure. Sprung has been around since the 1800s. If you look at this, it looks like a tent, and they started off with covered wagons in the 1800s, and they have grown into a company that is worldwide. These structures are throughout the world in all type of environments, from extreme weather conditions that has sustained itself over the course of the years. And every 25 years, we'll replace a portion of this roof, but that light color area up there actually is a kind of a opaque see-through that lets light come in. But this structure that you see here in the front is a structure that will add on to the structure. So that is actually a red iron facade that we would add to the structure. But this is, again, used throughout the country. Saddleback Church has a full campus full of sprung structures. Also, there's another structure in Turlock, I'm sorry, which is almost twice the size as our structure. I don't have any pictures of that one with me tonight, but this is what we're bringing as a concept, and we should be inputting our planning application here either tonight or tomorrow morning. We will tear down the existing structure to have all this parking out front. So this would be Hilltop Drive. The current church sits about here. So eventually that church will come down and provide the parking out front. And this is what you'll see from Hilltop Drive. This is what the parking would look like around the structure. Again, this is Hilltop Drive here, two-way traffic. And of course, being able to enter and exit off onto Hilltop Drive and enter off of Hilltop Drive. Just another side of the structure. There'll be large retaining walls at the back side of this and the side of it as well. And then this is what folks will look at from below, looking up at the structure. That's the back side. And this gives us a fantastic view looking back at the North Bay, which is a gorgeous view. So our site is about 6 acres. So that's the renderings. This is short and sweet. I'm going to end it there, or do you want me to leave that up for any questions?
Yeah, if anyone have any questions, either you can type it in the chat or raise your hand and we'll call you out on the questions. There's a question in the chat. It says, what's the timeline for when the project is to be completed?
Depending on how we get through planning, we are, as I mentioned, submitting this week, probably if I can enter it all tonight through the portal or either tomorrow morning. I've had conversations with the planning manager, Mr. Rojas, and he likes this design of this building. And so part of the reasoning for outreaching to the community is just to make them aware of what we're presenting as a new structure in the neighborhood. We've already met with Hilltop Green behind us. We're meeting with the neighbors across the street and the two neighboring churches to share what I'm sharing with you tonight. The timeline, because the structure goes up in about 3 months once you get all the horizontal work in and the slab for this. So the actual framing of the building goes up in about 3 months, 2 to 3 months. So it goes up fairly quickly. The plan is to have the existing church to remain until we are completed with the interior. And so the seating in the sanctuary will be 655 seats, where you see this apparatus in the front here, which is the front entry. That's a foyer with a cafe, bathrooms, and it's a 2-story, which will have offices and classrooms downstairs with the small children. The teens will be upstairs along with offices. And so this will be multi-purpose in the sanctuary. We'll have it set up where it could be converted into multiple uses, from basketball to volleyball, to be able to convert into smaller spaces for weddings or neighborhood events to be rented, or I shouldn't say my pastor says to be able to be used by the community. So
All right, well, that answers another question that was in the chat.
okay.
Are you going to do any sidewalk improvements or like install any charging station for public use during this project?
Well, that's something that we have to filter out. I believe we are going to have to set back to create that space along with the landscaping that you see that we are proposing for the sidewalk area. Yes.
Okay. All right, I think we're at our 15 minutes. Unless anybody else have a last minute burning question, we can move on. All right, well, thank you, Ronnie. Really appreciate your time, and we'll look forward to hearing from you on the progress.
I look forward to being able to get the information from this meeting as well.
Great.
All right. Appreciate everybody's time. Thank you.
All right, I think we'll move on to item number 4 from Hector. If you just want to give us a verbal update on the Hilltop Horizon Plan, that'd be great.
Yes, thank you for having me once again. Hector Rojas, Planning Manager with the City of Richmond Planning Division. I'm here tonight at the request of our Community Development Director, Lina Velasco, who unfortunately had another commitment and couldn't make it tonight. I actually got pulled from another meeting that was happening, so I apologize. I'm not fully prepared to give you a very detailed update, aside from just giving you a general sense of where we are in the planning process. I will mention that Roberto Feliciano, who I'm sure you all have worked with in the past year since this project got kicked off. She actually got a promotion with the town of Ross, and she's going to be heading over there to be the town's planning and building director. So she is phasing out from all projects having to do with Richmond. Here, October 6th is her last day. And so for the meantime, I will be taking on the responsibility of the project management for the specific plan. So I'm your point of contact from here on out. I'll go ahead and provide my name and my email address in the chat so you can have a good contact to reach out with respects to the specific planning process. So where we are right now, we've been meeting with Prologis, as you know, for several months. And we are actually in the phase of the specific plan where we're developing planning alternatives. I believe we have 2 or 3 different plan alternatives that we've been working on with Prologis to see where there could be potential alignment in terms of what we've heard from the community through our community engagement process, as well as the stakeholder surveys that we finished up in March. So we've been meeting with them. We had a meeting with them last week where they unveiled potentially what they're looking at. I know that they have brought on a residential developer. So there's some master planning that's going on for the Hilltop site. And I'm looking forward to seeing their presentation later on tonight to see what kind of potential revisions they've made in response to any feedback that the Hilltop District Neighborhood Council has provided in the past. So we're at a critical juncture at this point. We would like to move forward with our community meeting number 2 and our advisory committee meeting. Those were set to be held here in the month of September. I think just based on where we are in the month of September now, I think we're probably going to be setting those up for October. But essentially, we want to go ahead and provide an overview of those planning alternatives to get feedback from the advisory committee first, the community second, and then based on that feedback, we would potentially take those planning alternatives to both the Planning Commission and the City Council as study sessions so they could give us direction on potentially having a preferred alternative so that we can perform environmental analysis and move forward with the specific plan preparation. So that's where we're at this point. Again, I'm looking forward to seeing what Prologis will be presenting tonight, and keep an eye out on the Hilltop Horizon specific plan website for announcements on advisory committee meetings and community meetings. But those will be taking place this fall with the advisory and community meetings potentially happening in October, and then hopefully in the month of November, December, having what I'm hoping to be joint meetings between the Planning Commission, but they may occur at the same time or separately. We haven't quite yet decided, and we're looking at logistics of council member and planning commissioners being available the same night to review this item. So with that, I'll pass it over back to you, Bobbin. If you have any questions or any questions that the members here have, I'm happy to address those.
Okay, great, Hector, for the update. Thank you. So you've got some catching up to do, obviously, since you're taking over Roberta. So Hilltop Working Group, which is a coalition of neighborhood councils in the Hilltop area, has been meeting with Roberta and Lina on a monthly basis. So we'll be scheduling that meeting with you going forward so we can get a periodic update, and then in turn we can update our membership. Do you have a timeline as to when the Hilltop specific plan would be completed? Are we still looking at like third quarter of 2024, or has that timeline changed?
Yeah, so I think we would love to keep that timeline. Our hard deadline is January of 2024. We have been preparing this work with grant funding. And part of the grant funding requirements is that we adopt a specific plan by that date, by January of 2024. So that's the drop dead deadline, if you will. But certainly we'd love to see this specific plan prepared and adopted sooner than that. And I think kind of the back and forth cooperation with Prologis has been, prolonging that. But I think it's, a positive development, because a lot of times when we have specific plans in the planning world, there's great visioning that happens, but nobody at the door knocking to say, hey, we're happy to develop this and we're excited to do that. So we're working with Prologis here, and it really, represents, potential developer that says, hey, we have alignment on certain things and we'd like to move forward with actually building something. So I'm excited to hear that. And again, I'm happy to see what Prologis is going to be presenting today and see what kind of feedback you guys provide.
Great. Yeah, no, the membership here is one of the things we learned from the survey as well, that folks wants to see development at the Hilltop Mall site, and we really are hoping that the city and Prologis can seek alignment on this, and we can see progress as soon as possible. So I'm glad that you're on the same page on that thought process. Anyone else have any questions for Hector from City Planning? All right, Jake.
Thank you, Hector, for the update. This is great. Are you referring, when you say January 2024, are you referring to like the timeline, the specific plan environmental document preparation you want to be done by then? Is that what you're referring to? I'm just looking at the timeline on the website.
Yeah, I think if I'm not mistaken, it's the deadline for the grant. The grant essentially has a requirement that we adopt a specific plan by that deadline. which
Uh-huh.
I would presume that the environmental has to be completed by the time that we adopt the specific plan. The council would not be able to adopt the specific plan without completing environmental review, but I could probably take a quicker look at that website and see what it says on there and provide some clarification if needed.
That'd be great. Thank you.
You bet.
Arto?
Yeah, I know the state has come down with a mandate for high density housing. And I was just curious if the city has identified any properties other than the Hilltop Mall site for high density property or development.
Yeah, that's a good question. We actually just, adopted our housing elements per the sixth cycle this last January, and I'm getting all the indications from our Housing and Community Development Department that it will be finally certified within the next 2 weeks. So I'm excited to announce that. With the housing element, we did do a sites inventory. I could provide a link to our updated housing element with the inventory. But basically, it took a look at the vacant sites throughout Richmond and potentially, higher density projects on those sites. We did not include the Hilltop Horizon specific plan area in that sites inventory. But just, general central Richmond and, the ferry terminal area down at the end of Marina Way South, those are the areas that, the city is really interested in seeing higher density where there's potential links with, transit.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Hector, for coming on such a short notice and providing us an update. We really appreciate it, and we really look forward to working with you on the finalization of the Hilltop Horizon plan.
Same here. Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to our last item on the agenda, which is the update from Prologis and Signature Group on the Hilltop Mall site. So I'll let you guys introduce yourself briefly, but I just wanted to know who I should give right to share the presentation.
If you could give that to me, Bhavin, that'd be great. And this is Faye.
That's Faye.
Perfect.
Faye Brandon. All right, should we get started, Bhavin, once you're ready with that?
Yep. Go ahead. You're on.
Great. I'll kick it off. So for those of you I haven't met yet, I am Samida Takral, and I work for Prologis. I hope you can hear me clearly.
Did she just freeze?
I think we lost connection. I can't.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you froze for a second, but now you're able
Can
to
you
hear.
hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just keep my video off. Maybe that will help. So I'm Samida Takral. I work just on this stuff for the last 2 years. And we're really excited to be here to talk to you about this project today. It's, it's different from most of our other projects that we typically work on. It's much larger. It's in this very mixed use neighborhood with housing around it. And, our principle is always to treat each site and each project in a way and consider it, for its unique attributes and do what's right for each site. And for this one, it's always been our goal to, engage the community living and working around Hilltop, find out what they want to see here, because, you're all here on this call and you're motivated to see change there. So that's one of the things we've been doing for the last 2 years is talking to all of you, understanding what you want to see here, what are your concerns about what you see right now. And we've done that. We also with Hector and Lina and team on the specific plan to understand, what their aspirations are and what they'd like to see. And so finally, I think what we want to end up with here is, a mix of uses that all the stakeholders can ideally align with, a project that we can say is sustainable and green. And last but not the least, something that's financially feasible so that we can move forward and build it, right? Because none of us want to, have a lot of conversations like Hector said, and then put something on the shelf, which never gets built. So, with all the time that we spent in the last 2 years, we're really excited to bring on a Signature Development Group, a very well-regarded developer from the Bay Area. And I know I won't do as good a job as introducing them, so I'm going to hand it over to Mike. But I just want to say that the reason we brought them on is because we really felt that this site could could really benefit from their expertise. They work on residential developments such as Brooklyn Basin and Oakland, the Hyde in Oakland. So they've done some really fantastic job building housing, place making, creating places where people want to live, work, shop. And I think that's, those are some of the elements we want to see here at Hilltop. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Mike Gilmedi, the president of Signature Development Group.
Thanks, Amita. Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you. I'm Mike Gilmedi with Signature Development Group. Our team is partnering with Prologis on, I think, taking another look at uses and plans, and we can share those with you tonight. Just quick background, Signature, we're an Oakland-based development company. We've done business around the Bay Area, up in, Marin County, San Rafael, and Novato, down in the South Bay, Sunnyvale, San Jose, Fremont, different places like that. But candidly, where we've done most of our business in the last about 14 years is in the East Bay, primarily in Oakland. We have done stuff before in Richmond, building the Anchor Cove townhome community next to the waterfront there in Marina Bay. And we also have done some stuff. We built the Abella project in San Pablo, across from the college. So happy. Our site is signaturedevelopment.com, our website. Probably the biggest project we're working on currently is a project called Brooklyn Basin, brooklynbasin.com. It is right off of 880, just south of Jack London Square. And it's a newer emerging project with, parks and residential and retail, kind of similar to, say, like a Mission Bay in San Francisco. So we're really, really excited to be here. We have a great team, and we're actually really excited to get to know more of you, I think, on more than just Zoom. So we want to come out and meet people, get to know people in the community. Zoom is a great way to meet lots of people, but not probably the way to have deep, meaningful relationships. So hopefully we can follow up with some of you in the future, and meet you on a more in-depth basis and kind of learn more about some of the community's wants and needs and desires. Real quick, I want to introduce some of the folks from our team. Not everyone could be here tonight, but Sean Morley is here. Tom Qualia will be giving a presentation. He's doing more of the planning and working with the land planners and city staff, along with Faye Brandon, who's here. And we have a couple folks that weren't able to make it, but at subsequent meetings, we'll introduce Eric Harrison and Eric Morley. So with that, I want to turn it over to Tom, so you can kind of go through, because I think that's really what you came here for, is kind of understand more about where this plan is evolving. But one of the things I did want to say is, between Prologis and us, we did hear what people had to say about the prior iterations, and in essence want to kind of turn and evolve this plan into more of a neighborhood that could be complementary of the neighborhoods around the area, and be contributory to the area. Tom, you want to take it?
Yes. So, hi, I'm Tom Qualia. I'm one of the partners at Signature. My background is trained as a city planner at UC Davis. I was actually public planner for many years, and I've been a private developer forever, doing design and interaction with neighborhoods and city staff. So let's go to the next exhibit. This kind of starts when we came in and started looking at this built form of the Hilltop district. A couple observations. We have some great schools. We have some great neighborhoods existing both right across the street from us and on the other side of Hilltop Drive and around us. The characteristics of those neighborhoods are for sale housing, and including the properties to the north of us. So that's kind of an overall theme as it relates to this neighborhood. But the other part of it all is there's just a lot of concrete, asphalt roadways, and not a whole lot of green. So as Mike said, we came in and looked at this and say, how do we convert this chunk of asphalt to something that's much more inviting as it relates to bikes and peds, green parks, traffic patterns, and also accommodates an inviting development that complements the neighborhood. So we're going to show you a couple of options, and we'll start at kind of a higher level as it relates to the land use types. So if we go to the next one, Faye. So we came into the process in the city, it started the Horizon specific plan. And one of the ideas that they showed us in some of their alternatives was a realignment of Hilltop Mall Road. So for all intentional purposes, they would take the section from Klaus to Hillview, convert that to a non-roadway. And in our case, we're converting it to almost 2 acres of public bike ped, green space and park there on that edge, and then route the roadway through the site and with a connection up to Hillview. So that was one of the alternatives that staff had on their palette that we liked. So that's pretty much the backbone of our discussion here. If you look at these colors, these are lifted from the specific plan. The gray represents about 10 to 14 acres of employment. That could be soft R&D, it could be a data center, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in detail. The existing Walmart is just shy of 13 acres. That will stay in this plan. So we are working around that, upgrading it and integrated it into our master plan. The adjacent 9 acres would be a new retail center, and we'll show you a couple of options for that. And then the remaining yellow and gold striped would be for sale housing types in all different types of varieties. And I'll kind of talk you through that. You can see on this plan, it's very inviting. Those are public streets going through the project. We're greening them up. We have, if you will, trailheads and inviting locations to enter that green space on the northern edge, community gateways as suggested by staff. And then we have some park components, and these are public parks, hopefully strategically located. Obviously, this is the start of the process and the start of an unveiling of some concepts. So we're here to listen. So if you take this land use plan and think, okay, how does it get built out? The next exhibit shows you the potential build out. And what's significant here is the roadways through the middle are basically tree-lined public streets with sidewalks. We then retain the Walmart and we add a 9-acre site. All of the different plottings are for sale housing products that are townhouses and stacked flats and interlocking units and some little motor court single family homes and some row houses. And they are all different neighborhoods, but they're not gated, they're not fenced. And you'll see later on, they have a lot of porosity and open to the public to transfer through. We also have the large green conversion. We have 5 lanes of asphalt on the northern part of the site, which is Hilltop Mall Road. That stays public and the asphalt gets dug up and becomes a large green space and very open. And once again, I'll show you, besides the connection points at Klaus and Hillview, we'll show you the internals. You do see an employment center there. Once again, soft R&D, data or that like, not your traditional warehouse, truck intensive type development. And in this particular option, we show you a big box retail next to the Walmart. And that's one of the options we kind of want to continue through this. And I'll show you kind of optionality to that. So this is a eyewash, give you an idea of potentially how it builds out. And so we go to the next alternative, which says, okay, we don't do a big box and we start to do some community serving placemaking retail. And this could be a series of big plaza gathering spots and retail that's more akin to the neighborhood and not a regional big box. So we will carry this type of concept concurrently with our packages, and you can see how the rest of it basically stays the same. Option 2 is the next one, where the employment potentially goes away. And we are anticipating if it did, we would like to continue the neighborhoods with the variety of the for sale housing types. So this is another option that we would run as part of the specific plan. And keep in mind, we are 77 acres of 143 acre specific plan. So we are one half, if you will, and all the sites around us are also going to be planned as part of this process. So this plan here in a built form, with all the baseline information the same, would include additional neighborhoods and veracity and additional for sale housing. What we're really envisioning, and I apologize for the noise in the background, is these are all varied for sale housing types that would appeal to all different types of demands. Some are 2 bedrooms, some are 3 bedrooms, some are 4 bedroom. Maybe there's 4 bedroom with dens, and the variety of maybe 900 square feet to 2,500 or 2,700 square feet of housing types, so that we really create kind of the diversity of housing type that exists in the neighborhoods all around us. There's a mix of duplexes and townhouses, detached single family. So this is the other option. I want to get into more of the details. So you go to the next plan. This kind of shows you, we just took one of the plans, and this kind of highlights our connectivity to the surrounding neighborhoods. It highlights the ped bike connections internal to the project, and it highlights how the edge condition on the inside of this 77 acre has currently no bike paths, no walking paths, nothing. And so we would create that. So the idea is that, once again, no gates, no keys, no cars. So then we go to the next and we start to show you some of the ideas of how it would live. This is the cross street through the middle of the project. This shows you how that cross street would get separated sidewalks, the legal on-street bike paths, and 2-3 lanes of traffic. And obviously all this traffic is pending future studies. But the idea is we've got either the residential or the retail on the edges with front doors facing the street. Once again, not putting our backs on anything. So this is the internal street network potentially. We go to the next one. And if you take the existing Hilltop Mall Road, you have 5 lanes of asphalt. Potentially on the inside ring, we could take a lane away or a lane and a half, depending on traffic studies. And in the lower drawing, we convert that to a separated pedestrian sidewalk. Once again, the proper on-street bike lanes, and still have at least 3 lanes of traffic pending traffic studies. We'll skip the next one and start to kind of show you some imagery. Go to the next. So what potentially does it look like? First and foremost, the green spaces in the parks would stand out. They're out on the edge so that they're easily accessible to the surrounding neighborhoods, but yet they're integrated into our main street, and they're critical parts of it. And we kind of depict, what in the upper right is what that northern section would be in terms of that open space and park. And then obviously the structures in the passive and active. If we go to the next character, we start to see some of the residential forms and massing. We also show we could have a series of detached sidewalks in the neighborhoods. Maybe they're monolithic sidewalks, like currently in the Hillview and Summer Lane area, and the bike path on there. And then we show how the public kind of gathering spots can interact with the front doors of the residential units. So that this is just to give you a character. Then we go to the next one, which is the potential look and feel of the employment center if we proceed and go along. So let's go back to option A, and I'm reading all these questions as we go along. I'm going to answer a few of them. Let's go to the next one. Let's go one more. So some of the questions were, nope, keep going. Okay. One more. Go back.
Hey, let's try to hit A2.
A2, yeah,
Up.
next one.
There we go.
There, stay. Obviously, there's some questions about, why not do what Emeryville did in terms of big density and vertical mixed use. So in trying to complement the neighborhood and trying to design a project that could get built in the near term, we feel that this could be successful. Obviously, we're starting our process and we're really excited to hear input, but we feel that this is, quite frankly, probably a more complementary type of approach for this neighborhood. But certainly the statement about creating Emeryville and that vertical mixed use is out there, and it is going to come up again. So so Sean, did you have anything you want to add before we start to take the questions?
No, I don't think so. Other than, hi, everybody. Tom and I are working together on the city process and trying to figure out, in addition to, some early concepts and planning for discussion points, also how we just dovetail into the specific plan process. We're spending some time talking to Hector and his colleagues about what that may look like, and we'll be doing over the next month or so. Or our hope is that we'll be able to dovetail into that preferred plan selection process, and then also ideally process and application somewhat simultaneously. Our goal is really to be able to move forward, show you pretty clearly with an actual project application for our site as opposed to the full specific plan. We'll be working through some of those items in the coming weeks and months prior to council action on this. But we would like to be able to, advance a plan that's sustainable, feasible, develops and delivers a bunch of community benefits. As Tom said, these are early concepts to spur discussion and really our starting places. We're seeing some great comments already in the chat. Tom, we can, try to flip through some of those. Bob, maybe you want me to just put them to Tom and we can try to answer them a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of them have to do with retail, and if we just pause on this one for a second, the pink area here, is retail. So obviously the Walmart's Walmart, and they have a long-term lease, and that's not going to change. So they have rights there. But the other retail that we're showing can be a lot of things. There can be a health club in there. There could be nice shops, etc. And so I think we can focus a lot of attention on that and making sure that we curate that to the best possible ability. I think one of the things we wanted to note here is we're trying to create, a human scale to this. The road down the middle there isn't like El Camino Real or giant thoroughfares and boulevards. We're looking to create bike lanes and pedestrian lanes and tree-lined streets, and you can see the amount of trees and landscaping and open space that permeates this. It's obviously our first blush at this, and so we're going to take comments that we get from you here tonight, comments we get from other folks, from city council members, planning commissioners, and planning staff members to continue to evolve this plan. The retail is just a placeholder for now, and these interior streets are just placeholders. They're not the actual streets. It's to show that things work. And the parks and the recreation areas are placeholders that they could grow or change or move depending on other aspects of the project.
Mike, I think we've had some questions about traffic too, and just to talk a little bit about that and our lane configurations. As Tom said, still really early in the process. We've looked at some of the underlying traffic assumptions that the city is thinking about for the specific planning process, and might just say that the roads were all sized for a very large regional mall, and our experience suggests that what we're proposing here is something that can support without creating more congestion. This scale of a redevelopment, a community plan, including for retail, that would be very different than what we might have seen in some of the earlier iterations with more employment and warehouse and the like. But that process and confirmation of our informed experience as developers over many, many years will be all worked through a city's specific planning process and a lot of traffic studies. So we're not taking that for granted, but we are, thinking that there is a real opportunity to take that roadway and, as Mike said, make it at a more human scale for the benefit of the existing neighborhood as well as any new residents who might come to be here.
And then I'll answer a few other questions. So the public green space, pickleball plazas, gathering spaces, everything is going to be on the table. That northern green area is 2 acres. That's a very large area, and we've got some big dimensions in there. So all of that input, and I understand pickleball is allowed, so it would be put in a location that doesn't bother anybody. But all of those types of public benefit inputs and amenities will be flushed out in the process. We've done master plans like this many, many times, and we really understand of that. The second thing is, another question was about the distribution center and soft employment and maybe a data center. There was concerns about keeping control of that building, that it doesn't get upgraded to something that's high vehicular in and out. So we share that. We've heard that many times. So we'll make sure, and I'm sure the city's going to make sure, if we end up with this option, that there'll be severe restrictions on that, and there'll be a real defined allowed uses from that. The other, no, I think that was it. So
Tom, let me just jump maybe real quick too, because I'm scrolling as we're both kind of going back and forth along with Mike, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the parks. I think there were a couple of comments there and with some of the programs and uses that be just in a little bit more detail than what you mentioned. This is a starting place we think there's some real benefit to having some park area located in a couple of locations that we talked about, externally facing as opposed to more internally facing, to connect more with the existing neighborhood and surrounding uses. But in terms of size, location, activities that might occur within them, that will be, I'm sure, a very robust community discussion as well as with city input throughout the specific planning process and any work we may do specifically around an application for our site. And we look forward to having that with all of you over the better part of the next year. I'm sure we'll have a lot of good ideas, and that is really part of the incredible placemaking opportunity here. And so we're going to want to make sure that we get it right. But we do think that anchoring either side with a park opportunity and the designs we have here are just are early concepts. They're not really meant to be signify even a final goal or objective of ours. We'll look forward to having that discussion with everybody, and I'm already scribbled down a number of good ideas about what we can do there.
There's 2 other questions, concerns about crime and police. One of our big bases for a design is so that the streets and the housing types are visible. We have front doors, we have porches, we have the eyes of the village on the street network. And that goes a long ways in terms of just a neighborhood safety and a complement to the existing neighborhoods around us. We will work hand in hand with the police and the city manager in terms of ensuring safety and the burden of that safety on this project. So that will be part of our analysis as we go forward on this. And then lastly, once again, we're 77 acres of 143. So we are helping the city with some exhibits and some ideas on how how we can help with some of the connectivity for the bike and the ped, both off-site improvements as well as on-site. So the specific plan really will create a fabric that is all coordinated.
And then Tom, I might just say, you know, we've got a number of comments too, and I totally understand, both with respect to housing typology, size, price, just like on the, you know, retail, what can it be, and what are some good suggestions about, you know, tenant ideas, and like we are at a very early conceptual stage, and it is really hard for us, you know, although we will get there for sure, to be focusing in on any of those very particularized kinds of uses, other than making sure that we're creating an opportunity at the early planning stage to accommodate a wide range of choices, as opposed to the, you know, this is the pivot essentially that we're making from what were some earlier conversations about a much larger, you know, employment based uses, and we, you know, we will be working through that with all of you, and we're looking forward to just a more regular cadence of discussion and design as we get through each layer of this as we go.
So Hector, to follow up, we met with staff, as Hector said. And so we are going to be submitting these initial thoughts to staff in a package, probably soon, in the next few days, if you will. So Hector, we still will honor our commitment to you, and it does include the additional items that you asked for in terms of the backbone analysis. And then as far as this large group, you're the first large group we presented to, so you're the first folks to be seeing these live images. And once again, this is a start, and we're excited. Just seeing all the questions are really helpful for me. I'm a former planner, and we have big ears and we listen. And we've got already some ideas in anticipation of some of the questions that you and staff have brought up.
There's some questions here on timeline. So we plan on working with you, the community, and other stakeholders, but directly with city staff. Hector had mentioned wanting to get to city staff, or have city staff get to council planning commission / council between now and the end of the year, November, December timeframe. That's not to approve a plan. That's really to get direction from the council on direction for the environmental studies to occur. So we hope to have a plan that's not this detailed version that you see in front of you. This is really just an illustrative to show how that, the color. Faye, can you go to the color?
Go back one.
Yeah, like this. How this may lay out. And it's not the way, it's a way. Just we wanted to see that it actually fit. But that this would be something that we would love to get the blessing of the council to have the city staff and the specific plan study, for instance, this. Then we could do more detailed studies, traffic studies, other things, and meet with you as a community more over the course of 2024. Because as Hector said, the grant moves through, I think, January of 25. So that would give us all of next year to work with you, community, and others to kind of perfect a plan that follows these general parameters. Again, the retail, we're getting a ton of comments here, different types of retail you'd like to see. Great, we'll look at it. And parks and open space and pickleball or no pickleball, all those types of things. That could live in this quote pink area or some pink area that's substantially similar to it. There's lots of area there.
So if I can chime in real quick here, and by the way, thank you for doing this. This is great. And I think you've seen the feedback from me and others, but I'm glad that everyone's on the same page, is that people do want to see more retail, more entertainment type of establishment. People do want to see more open space, and people want to see a little bit of more verticality as well to take advantage of the views as well for housing and even retail. So I really want to sort of encourage others. This is not your only opportunity to provide feedback. Continue to provide feedback directly to Prologis, to Signature Group, to us, and we'll pass on those feedbacks to them. So if you have additional feedback, even after the presentation, or when you look at, some folks may look at the recordings, then feel free to send an email to president@hilltopdistrict.org, and we will definitely forward the comments to Signature Group and Prologis. But any other questions? I know you've got a lot of stuff in the chat, so I'm hoping that you're saving all those comments for your future reference, and it's all good stuff. But any question anybody would like to ask of Signature Group? Please raise your hand.
I want to raise my hand. I can't figure out how to do it in here, but about the impact of the roadway. Asprey Academy already has a huge impact currently on that roadway. And then the school, I can't tell you what school it is, it's located by the post office. Your other roadway would definitely impact that school as well. So there may be some real thoughts that you guys need to.
Super good. Yeah, super good point. We've already started some preliminary dialogue, and we know from just purely an operational standpoint, as we start to look at how the road network can be re-envisioned to, be at a more human scale, that it's got to work for surrounding uses as well, especially the schools. And so we've got some work in front of us, but we actually think that there's some real opportunity to actually do it a little better as we are coming to understand a little bit of those operational needs for the schools. And, frankly, I'm sure there will be some of the other uses as well.
John, I just want one clarified comment on his comment is that he's also referencing school that's on the Making Wave Academy, which is not on.
Yes, understood.
Okay, perfect.
I would assume maybe widening that roadway possibly could assist with that because these are, pretty much.
In some cases, widening is better. Actually, some cases it's counterintuitive, but shrinking is better. Because the wider the roadway in some cases, the faster people travel. And so there's a number of different ways we could look at this. And we have started chatting with the schools, and again, we'll be doing outreach. And again, one thing that I do want to encourage is we're happy to come out and do one-on-one meetings. We're happy to meet with small groups, large groups, etc. Again, Zoom is nice in many ways, but it's also inferior in certain ways. So we'd like to get to know you guys better and learn a little bit more in depth about some of your aspirations.
So how soon do you foresee being able to maybe come out and have some of these conversations in person?
October. No reason we have to dilly-dally. We're ready. So the way it works is we're basically going to be on point here on behalf of our partnership with Prologis. So one or more of us from the Signature team will come out and meet. I wrote my email. We'll send a list of contacts. Is probably the easiest way to do it.
We can share that through the HDNC, Mike.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah,
we'll send that out. And happy to be in touch with any of you.
For sure, giving us enough time to obviously invite other people so that we can get a lot more questions answered, and I'm sure you guys will probably have a few more answers to the questions we already have by then, I would assume, correct?
we're going to go through. Yeah.
So Michael, this is Michelle Marshall. I'm the VP for HDNC. I would strongly encourage you guys to work with the city of Richmond in regards to a traffic light study.
Yep.
Because I will be honest with you, just without your building land use diagram, it's not pleasant. Our quality of life has strongly deteriorated due to the lack of solid roadway design and street light timing. So
we'll be doing a comprehensive traffic study that includes traffic lights, but also traffic widths and traffic, circulation we'll be doing a really robust traffic study that will be public.
And hopefully we have an opportunity to, through this, redevelopment of our particular property, as opposed to the larger specific plan, find some ways to, hopefully fix or contribute to solutions for that might exist today independent of our project.
I would have to definitely concur with her comment. I live right off of Shane, and these intersections already are crazy without the extra impact of more traffic. And I believe that's what she was speaking of. It's really, really bad now.
Just a reminder, please raise your hand if you want to.
I don't even know how to raise my hand in here. Sorry. I can raise it physically, but I'm still looking to figure out how to raise it in this chat. So, oh, there it is. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else have any comments, suggestion, feedback, questions? April?
What was the timeline? Oh, sorry, raise the hand.
Raise the hand, please. April?
I just had one quick little question in addition to the ones I've already written. There is a 24-hour fitness there. Is that part of this? Are you discussing with them to remain there? Because I know there's a lot of people happy with having that there.
They're there for the time being. And for the future development, we could definitely have a discussion with them. Just as Mike mentioned, all the options are stated, we'll be discussing those.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
And then timeline question, again, if the city process runs as planned, that takes out through the end of 24, that's more the broader plan but to go from this one to the next one, if you will, the next slide, Faye, would be an additional, 6 to 12 months. I don't know if Faye's still there, but Faye, if you could move forward, to go from sorry, just that one. To go from the colored designations to an actual plan. Again, this is only a sample. Is probably another 6 to 12 months. So that would be probably calendar year 25. So we'd be looking at probably calendar year 26 to be able to start something.
Hey, Robin.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm sorry I joined them late, but I am a resident at the Summer Lane here at Hilltop. And I was kind of concerned with what was going to be happening at the Hilltop Mall. They sent out questionnaires about what you may like to see over there. And of course, park is one that I thought about, and maybe some type of a track field, because the schools, they don't really have a track field that they can go to, like the Spires and the summer, I think it's Summer Summit over there. And I just recently signed up with the 24 Fitness, and I would not want to see that go away so soon. And then in more as to all the apartments that you may consider putting over there, I think it's going to create a big traffic, more of a traffic problem that we're already experiencing right now. So, but I know a lot of people would like to see maybe a track field or something of that sort work out, as well as maybe the Walmart or maybe even another store there or somewhat.
Yes. I have one question on Costco and Walmart. So obviously there's a lot of interest from the community on seeing Costco up here. We did a survey and 97% of the residents responded with in support of Costco. So if you could give us an update on Costco, and then what about Walmart? Is there a plan for them to relocate to a single story, and whether those conversations are happening, and where are we with those?
On Walmart, as I said, they have an existing lease, so they have lease rights as any tenant has, and they have not expressed a desire to, change. So for now, I think that they are where they are. We're going to try and work on, you know, kind of beautifying the front, you know, in the parking area, et cetera. But I think the assumption is that they stay. And then Costco, we've had some conversations. We'll continue to have conversations, but it's got to be part of the broader plan. And so we don't know what the plan is yet. We've gotten great input from you here tonight. We're going to get great input from a lot of other folks, but it's part of a broader plan. And so we can't have, you know, Costco without the balance of the 77 or 78 acres and for us to know what we have, what infrastructure to put in, you know, parks, open space, roadways. Costco has a traffic pattern and a traffic generation that's different than other retail that would be there, and it's different than residential, and we need to study all of it combined.
Okay, we'll take two more questions. So I think, Erica, you had your hand raised. You're very good.
I had my hands raised and you asked the question. I know we have been asking for a grocery store, and I know we have grocery stores in other areas. But I was just thinking that Richmond would be nice to have one in Richmond, something that's healthy. That's all. But you asked a question about Costco.
Right. All right, last question from Cordell.
Yes, can you hear me, Babin?
Yes, we can.
Yes, so thank you, Prologis, for this update. So one of the things that I've seen that I would like to see is, like, you know, more retail, because as someone who shops at retail, I would like to see more of that, because it would attract more people to come to the Hilltop Mall. So I just like to see more retail, and I would also like to see more like open space, you know, like for people like to have, like, you know, want to, like, you know, go for a walk, that type of thing. So that's what I would like to see in the Hilltop area.
Great. Thanks for the comments.
Okay, well, like I said, please continue to send your feedback to Prologis and Signature Group or to us, and we'll get it to them. And we will work towards setting up an in-person meeting with a group shortly as well at one of the venues, and we'll go from there. But we're really looking forward to continue this conversation. We're glad that we're making progress on this. And we're hoping that city is aligned with that as well. And then you work really closely with city to figure out the path forward for us.
Can I, Robin, I'd like to say something about membership before you close. Please. Thank you. Hilltop Neighborhood District Council is a community, I guess, association that supports the community, and we're able to put on events like this or meetings like this. And membership is only $15 to $20 for the whole year. So please consider joining. We take Venmo or PayPal. You can email me at ericahay@yahoo.com. I think the information for the membership should be in the agenda. If not, please let me know and I will send it to you. But Venmo or either PayPal is a good way to pay. It's only $15 to $20 a year. And it helps us with the Zoom meetings. We have calls for the association. We have the website that we have put up. We have other expenses, and being able to support this is great. It's benefit for the community overall. So there's just my 2-minute plug there, a 2-second plug. Thank you for coming.
Website address as well as our email into the chat. So feel free to reach out for any membership inquiries as well. And thank you all, and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you.